So for my treehouse, my goal was to create a space that was designed for one or two people that really made you feel like you were a part of nature and that you were one with your outside forest area. So I really focused on that in my design. My first inspiration was this piece of art that is my favorite art. It's at Mass MoCA, which is a contemporary art museum in Massachusetts. It's called Tree Logic, and it's basically mixes like this industrial kind of feel with the natural feeling of trees as they're literally in the picture growing upside down out of steel barrels. And I've always loved this piece, so I wanted to incorporate this kind of feel into my project. These are my other kind of precedents that I really liked. I really liked the wood exterior and interior feel that made it feel, like it belonged within the forest area. So to achieve this kind of natural focus, I did a couple of things to my treehouse to try to achieve that. So when you see my designs in the next couple slides, you'll notice that it's a lot of windows. I have, I think, like 8 lights in my house. It's a lot of natural light. And one of the top floor is completely glass. The bedroom has a glass ceiling that is completely clear, but I want to have the ability to open up so you can sleep under the stars and really feel like you're, in the wooded area. To also achieve this, I did a wood exterior, and I wanted to have the hanging trees be a part of it to kind of mimic the outside forest area. So I have them hanging, growing upside down from the bottom of my treehouse. So I'm not an artist, but these are my first drawings. You'll see in a couple slides, I computer modeled it. That's definitely more up my alley. But you can see here, I have my upside down trees and just a really rough floor plan sketch of where I kind of wanted things in the treehouse. So to decide on a location was really easy for me because I wanted to build it in my favorite place in the world, which is Acadia National Park. So I actually found a piece of land for sale there that had, the ability to connect to electric and water and things like that. This is an actual picture of the property that I would theoretically purchase. It's a waterfront property, but I plan to build back into the forest area so that it's not visible from the water, and just have a pathway to go out to that beach swimming area on the waterfront. So here are my 3D models. So I made my first floor plan. It's a really simple house. It's under 1,000 square feet. I might consider it a bit of a tiny house. So the first floor just includes kind of this kitchen area, living room area that's kind of joined, and then a bathroom on the side. This first floor, I believe, is 625 square feet. And the two levels of my house are perfectly square, and you'll see why I did that in a second with the second floor. So my second floor is also perfectly square, and it has a 360-degree balcony around the edge so that the person living there can enjoy the view from all directions. And I wanted to do that to achieve that by having the smaller cube on top of the larger cube. The top bedroom is only like 300 square feet, making the total of my square footage just under 1,000. And I created a little sitting area outside in the balcony too to kind of complement that feeling of trying to be outside. So these are my 3D renderings of my project. You can see both floors here, and I have a little video just walking through, my 3D modeling in the software system I was using. So you can just get a better view. These are not necessarily the, interior design choices I would have made, but they are what was available to me when I was using the software. So you'll see later in my presentation, I have, more particular details about how I want things to look, but this just gives you a feel of where things are. You also see now I just got rid of the top floor in the video, so you can see into the bottom floor. You can see where I put lights and things like that, and outlets, and where the plumbing would be located based on the location of things. I put lighting systems into this too. So yeah, that's my little video. Oh, I don't want to play it again. Sorry. So these are just the details of my project beyond kind of the 3D model I had just showed you. So this is a really basic electrical plan of where I would have, lights, the larger square obviously being the first floor and the smaller square being the second floor. I don't need a lot of lighting because I have so many windows, as you can see in my 3D model. But I do have some lighting just for the purposes of, during the evening time when you want to move around and things like that in your house and not bump into stuff. So this is my structural plan. So it really depends on the weight of my structure and how much it would end up weighing. I kind of have three ideas. This one on the right here is my preferred design, which is it sitting on a couple of beams and hanging from a tree branch or a beam above. Over here, I have that same kind of feel, but supported with beams on the bottom. And then this middle drawing, which again, not the best artist, but this middle drawing represents it being suspended from all of its corners with steel cables, which is actually something I saw from a precedent I had seen when we were first starting the ACE project of it being suspended in all directions off of different trees. So that could also be an option for what I was designing. As far as plumbing and electrical, I plan to run the plumbing drains and vents down the side of the nearest tree that it's kind of going off of. And there's some kind of cool ways that you can disguise outdoor plumbing, which I've seen pipes that have like textures on them that make them look like wood, putting plants around them and things like that. So I would try to, hide that as best as possible. And the same thing with the electric. So this is my electrical usage. You'll see later I chose like individual appliances and things like that, but this is, going off of averages, how much electricity I would use. And this ended up coming to 16,210 watts that I would have to support. I plan to use solar energy, and I'll explain kind of where that would be on my property later, but this ended up being about $24,000, give or take, for solar panels to support this. So my beach area, you'll see in a couple slides, I have kind of a map of what my land setup will be like, but there's going to be a swimming area where that waterfront piece is, and kind of adjacent to the swimming area, there will also be an area for the solar panels to be, because that's really the only place in my property that would get any sun. And they will be out on the beach, and that will be where my electricity source will lay. So this is my property layout. Again, I don't want the building to be visible from the water, so it's going to be back in the trees a bit, and they'll be parking near the road, and you'll walk down and walk to the beach area. I didn't want to be close to the road. I thought that kind of lost the purpose of being, immersed into the forest. So I made sure to put it, towards the middle of my property. So as far as interior design, I really like kind of like a modern, contemporary feel. This is what I was thinking for the kitchen, and for the bedroom, I want all of the walls to be glass. So this is kind of the feel I was going with, glass all the way around and a platform bed in the middle, to kind of have that be the centerpiece of the room. As far as the bathroom, I really like the wood feel, and I plan to incorporate that. And then for the living room, my goal is to really achieve this right image and how it feels kind of cozy and nice. But I added these two side images in because I really like the idea of having a textured wall in the room. I think it gives it a lot of character. So these were just two different kind of textured walls that stood out to me, and I thought would be cool to incorporate into the space. And then because my house is pretty small, I want to add in some kind of tiny house innovations. And these are just a couple of examples of kind of having, storage under the bed, or even having your washer and dryer being tucked into a cupboard somewhere or a cabinet so that it doesn't take up space. So I want to try to implement these in the house where I can to save space and get extra storage where I can. So my approximate structural budget I took from an average for square foot cost, and that was about $150 was the decided upon average for the United States. And I took out foundation and site work from that because I wouldn't have to lay a foundation like a traditional house. and that ended up being around $115 to $135 per square foot. So based on that average, I multiplied it by my square footage, and I ended up with about $112,000 as the structural cost for my treehouse. And then I also added into that an extra $5,000 because you will have to get this thing up in the air, and that will be a whole process. So that left me with $117,000 as my structural budget. And then for my interior budget, I'll show you later later after this. It's in a separate document, but I budgeted out all of my major appliances and then added an extra $30,000 for finishes and things like that. And that ended up with me having a interior budget of $69,000 for a total budget of $186,747. So that is my project. I'll just quickly scroll through and show you guys my interior budget. I like picked specific appliances and added these all up together to kind of get an estimate, and then added myself in a buffer because there's always unexpected costs. So